Music. Okay, let's get rid of that timer. Hi, everybody. How are you doing? It's been a while. My apologies. I know I've rescheduled some stuff. Let's just say, personally, I've been a mess. But, you know, ups and downs, we all go through them, and we're all better for it. So I'm here today. I'm excited to be here with you, talking about why your last event, so specifically talking about your challenges, your workshop, your masterclasses, whatever you're doing, to kind of do a one-to-many situation in your business, why it didn't work. So what I want to know from those of you that are with me, whether you are live or watching on the replay, so hashtag replay, if you're watching on the replay, you still get to answer, you still have to participate here, okay? How many of you have had this happen? So just type me in the comments if you've ever done some sort of event, workshop, challenge, whatever you call it in your space, and it didn't work. What does didn't work mean? That's what we're gonna unpack today. But maybe probably the easiest way that I can define this is you didn't get the sales that you wanted. You didn't get the sales that you expected. Doesn't have to be like a goose egg, complete goose egg, but it didn't perform in the way that you hoped it would. So type me in the comments if you're feeling like, yep, I gotta own up to that one. I will tell you, I will put for me would be in great big capital letters because I have had this happen. I have poured my heart and soul and put in so much time, energy, and effort into creating something like this. And I've even had a situation where everybody loved the event. I'm getting all sorts of positive feedback. People are loving it. This is great. Oh my gosh, this is so awesome. We love you. All these positive things, right? And you're thinking, oh, this is it. This is it. This is so good. And then what happens? No sales. Yes? You're with me on this. Yes? Okay, I see lots of me's. Yes. Okay, so why do you think it didn't convert? This is that moment to be honest. It's just us in here. It's just us in this group. Why do you think it didn't convert or it didn't get you the results that you wanted? Chances are that whatever you think it was, it's not that. Yes? Are you at least willing to be like, okay, Jamie, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt here. Okay, maybe so. what ends up happening, we talked about this a little bit we had a 5K club call this morning, and we talked a lot about this. We tend to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? So I did a workshop, I did a challenge, I did a thing, and it didn't work. I'm brushing that's it. It's not going to work. I'm done. I'll go find something else. And instead, what I want you to start to consider is that it might be the exact right strategy for you and your business, but maybe the execution of it is where we need to tweak, not throw out, not blow up. And so what it really comes down to is that you have to isolate what actually went wrong. And the reality is this is hard to do. It's hard to do. And I always say this, the pickles can't see the label from inside the jar, right? So they need somebody else to tell them what the label says. The same is true of us on a lot of the things that we're doing. Sometimes we don't have the perspective to know what went wrong. Sometimes we don't have the experience. Like, how many of you have been like, I don't know what went wrong? That's why I'm here, Jamie. That's why I'm showing up for this live. I don't know what went wrong, okay? So what can help is to look at this and say, okay, let's pinpoint what didn't happen. Because when you can pinpoint what didn't happen, then you can target that problem with the right solution. So when we sit here and we say, I don't know what went wrong, it's really hard for us to figure out what to do different to make it work next time. Instead, if we break it down and we say, okay, let's be specific in here and figure out what went wrong. Let me give you just a crazy analogy, right? Okay, so let's say your car is making a funny noise. Do you throw the car out? Are you like, nope, not driving it ever again. It's somebody else's problem. I'll just go buy a new car. No, you take it into a professional and you say, it's making this sound and I don't know what's wrong with it. And what do? They diagnose, right? They're going to figure out where that sound is coming from. And then what's the appropriate solution to that problem? But oftentimes you got to go to that mechanic to get the help because let's face it, I don't know what's wrong with cars. I'll tell you a very funny story very, very quick. I had this weird, I can't even remember what car this was. I had this weird sound coming from my car. And so I took it in the dealership and I'm like, I don't know, this is trying to describe it and I can't describe it. And they're like, no worries, we'll just take it for a drive and we'll figure out what's going on, what's happening with it. No problem, right? Okay, fine. So, you go sit in the waiting room and I don't know, probably 4 hours later, they come back in and I should have known by just the body language and the facial expression, like I should have known, but I didn't, I went right into it like, okay, tell me what it is. And I'm in my mind, you start to think the engine's going to explode or like it's the carburetor's falling out of like whatever. I'm not a car person, right? And I'm like, bracing myself for like this bad news. And he's like, well, we figured it out. We figured out what the problem was. And I said, oh, okay, good. Can we fix it? And he goes, we've already fixed it. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. Okay. What do I owe you? What was the problem? Like, give me the scoop. And he reaches out from behind his back and he's holding a water bottle. And look on my face. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, it was stuck under the seat. And what you were hearing was this. Talk about mortified, right? But anyway, that is not the point. The point is a little bit of levity today. We all need to laugh a little bit. Hopefully you enjoyed that. But the key is that you still have to isolate and figure out what is causing the problem. Because if that service tech hadn't thought to look under the seat, hadn't diagnosed this, how much money could we have rung up replacing this and replacing that and changing this out and replacing this without knowing what actually was going on? Yes? See where I'm going with this? Okay, so when it comes to your past events, what you've got to do is figure out what happened so that you can apply the appropriate fix. So let me give you a couple of scenarios here. Nobody registered for my workshop. Okay, so now what's the appropriate fix for that? Maybe people registered and they didn't show up. Okay, so what do I do for that? Maybe they showed up, but they didn't engage. Maybe they showed up and engaged and didn't buy. Once you can kind of figure out what is going on in there, now you can apply the appropriate fix, the appropriate solution. So let's talk about some of those options, okay? If nobody registered for the event, why would that be? Why could that possibly be going on? Well, it could be that they didn't know about it. Maybe you didn't promote it enough. Maybe you didn't promote it in the right places. Maybe you had the wrong promotion. It could be something as simple as your title and your messaging were not aligned. Maybe you weren't talking to your ideal client in the right way. So the focus here is, what do we have to do different in the title, in the messaging, and how we're promoting this so that the next time we get more people registered? We don't change the whole workshop. We change just the piece that's broken. Okay? If people registered and nobody showed up, well, now you got a different problem. Changing the title, changing the messaging may or may not help, but it's likely more that you didn't have something to communicate and remind people because they signed up 2 and 3 weeks ago and they forgot. So do you see how this isolation is so important? Isolate what's going on and fix the right problem. Okay, let's say they showed up to the workshop, but they didn't engage. Okay, well now what you got to look at is, what was going on in my workshop? What was I doing? Was I telling enough stories? Did I have enough engagement? Was it too much me talking and not enough them exploring? Then you start to shift, okay, maybe the meat and potatoes of my actual workshop is where we need to do some tweaking and some adjusting. Now, if they engage, which is the problem I had people registering, I had people showing up, and I had people engaged and then they didn't buy. So what I had to look at is, was I over-teaching? Was I overwhelming? Was I giving too much value? And as a result, my audience was stuck in learning mode. They're trying to apply what they learned instead of looking at what's next for me. Now, there could be a lot of other things going on in this scenario. This is when you start to get into, what am I doing from a sales perspective, right? Am I overselling? Is it weird and awkward? Is everything light and fun throughout the whole workshop? And then there's a physical change that happens when we get to the selling part. And that feels awkward. Well, your audience feels that too. Maybe you didn't sell at all. And you just hoped that people would buy even though you didn't pitch anything. You didn't put out an invitation, right? So now you have to look at that. Okay, so my question for all of you is this. Okay, now that I've given you some different ideas, some different possibilities, what do you think? What's the number one? There may be more than one, but I want you to isolate and I want you to pick one. What's the number one challenge that you have had in a workshop or an event that you've done? Let's just isolate the problem first. So I'm gonna wait for some comments. I haven't looked at comments here in a while. So let's see what's going on here. Okay, Julie says, not attracting the right people to the event. Okay. The issue with that is the words that you use, both in your title and your description, matter. It's what people are using to assess whether or not this is right for them. So if you don't have those words right, they're not going to attract the right people. Many of you have heard me tell the hummingbird story before, but I'm going to tell it here again. If you have this beautiful house with a wraparound porch and you want hummingbirds, you just think it would be the coolest thing, right? Do you run around the city with a net and try to catch them all and drag them back to your house? No. What do you do? You put out the nectar, the mixture of sugar and water, and you get the little hummingbird feeders, and you just trust and know that that hummingbird is going to find it. Yes? Okay. What if I fill my hummingbird feeders with just plain water? Or what if I filled my hummingbird feeders with, sunflower seeds? Am I going to attract hummingbirds? No. I'm probably going to attract squirrels if I put sunflower seeds in there. Squirrels do eat sunflower seeds. I think that's what you put out for squirrels. I don't know. If I just put out regular water, I'm going to probably attract regular birds. I don't want regular birds. I want hummingbirds. So the clearer you are about your ideal client and what their real challenges, problems, goals, and needs are, and you can message to that, you'll attract the right people. Okay, let's see what else you've come up with. Danny wants to know the real why. Is this about what's the real why for the real why underneath? I think that's what you mean. I hope that you got something from this today, Danny, and everybody else. That is the answer, right? The question that I asked at the beginning is, why do you think it didn't convert? There's probably something underneath whatever surface level answer you gave yourself, right? We often think that didn't work because the strategy must be wrong. This whole idea of doing a workshop or challenge, it's not for me, it's not going to work. And so we throw the baby out with the bathwater instead of looking at it and saying, what's the real why, like Danny said? What's the real underneath problem? And then we fix that. This could be absolutely the right strategy. You just need to tweak it. Okay, let's see what else you guys got. People are not showing up even though they say they are going. Okay. Several things can be going on with this. The example that I gave earlier was they forgot about it. Okay. So if you're not doing enough to remind them to be in touch with them, they're going to forget. Right? It's going to happen, especially if they registered 2 and 3 weeks ago. I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. So I don't remember things that I signed up for 2 or 3 weeks ago. So there has to be some ongoing communication. Okay, that's part one. The other part of this is if the title and the messaging and the promise about what they're going to get in that event is not strong enough, it's competing with all these other priorities. Okay, so the example that I like to use is, let's say my workshop is on Tuesday night. You know what? Tuesday night is Taco Tuesday. So I can either go out with my family or my friends and have Taco Tuesday, or I can go to this workshop. That's what I'm weighing. Those are my choices. And if your workshop, masterclass, challenge, whatever you call it, is not compelling enough, I might be picking tacos. Right? You want to make it something that is unmissable. I have to show up. I have to be there. I'll give up my tacos because I need to be at this workshop. And there's lots of different ways that you can do that. It's not just about the title and the messaging and the communication. It's what you promise in the workshop itself. Maybe some bonuses or you get this extra thing if you're live. All sorts of those things can all tie in to getting people to actually show up. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's do one more. How am I doing on time? Let's do one more. Who else had one? Okay. Julie also said, I send reminders by email all the time. Okay. Well, I'm going to embarrass myself right now. Okay. I'm going to go to my email. This is not planned. Okay. Right now, in my email, I have 577 unopened emails. 577 unopened emails. How many are actually in my inbox that I've opened, but they're still in my inbox? Is 1,481. Okay. So, Julie, I love you, but if you've sent me emails, I didn't see them. Right? This is life. It's real life. And I'm not saying you have to have multiple emails, or I'm not saying not having multiple emails is the answer. I'm saying not everybody is up on their emails. I know I'm not. So we have to rely on other ways to remind and communicate people. But also we have to rely on, is my topic juicy enough that somebody's going to say, I cannot miss this? Right? Because it's one thing to rely on, I hope I see the email that reminds me an hour before the event to show up for the event. It's another if I say, I cannot miss this. I'm going to put it on my calendar, and I'm going to put a big red Post-it note right here. And I'm going to do whatever things, they have to take ownership of it. You can't force them to come to something with an email. You have to invite them to come with reminders, but more than that, it's why do I need to be there? Why is this an unmissable event? And then you're always going to have people that can't be on at that time and day because they have a conflict. That's okay. So what are you doing after the fact to get them back to the replay? Just as important. Anyway, I hope all of this is giving you at least some ideas and at least some things to think about. Let me just check and see if there's any more. Patty's here. Hi, Patty. Oh, Patty, I miss you. Julie says, yes, DM people that say they're going. Okay, so let's just, I'm going to keep playing this out with you, Julie. Okay, so have you ever responded to something and said, yep, I'm going to be there? And then crap hits the fan and you don't go. Yep. Like tacos. And I'm being funny about the tacos. I love a good taco, but I'm also trying to be real with you to make sure that you understand this is what you're competing with. So I may say all of the right things. Yep, I'm going to be there. I'll click the button and I'll say, oh, I'm confirming that I'm going to attend. I get the DM. I even respond and say, yep, I'll be there. And then tacos come up and I'm like, I'm going to go have tacos. I'll watch the replay. Right? You also start to create an experience with people, especially if you've done multiple events, where people are like, I'll just watch the replay. And how many will watch the replay? It's not good odds. I know I'm not good at watching replays, right? So you have to do something bigger and bolder to make sure that it's an unmissable event. It's so good. There's going to be so much value there. I can't miss it. I need to be there live, and that I'm willing to make sure that I show up. Okay, one of the things you can do a VIP and charge for it. If I got money in the game, if I've paid $10 for VIP access to this workshop, chances are I'll show up because I paid. When I haven't paid, I kind of go, I got no skin in the game. I'll go have tacos. See how that works? Okay. I'm just seeing Patty's comment. Hello, lovely Patty. Okay. My goal here today is really just to make sure that you kind of can start to see that just because you've had a workshop challenge masterclass in the past and it hasn't converted and hasn't worked for you the way you want, doesn't mean that you scrap that strategy. If you are somebody that loves to give, loves to teach, loves to nurture, loves to guide, this is a great strategy for you. The challenge is that masterclasses that are designed to teach and guide and give don't always convert in the same way that masterclasses designed to do that do. How was that for a mouthful? What I'm trying to say is you got apples and oranges here. Okay? When you are building these events just to give, just to teach, you've got a different intention versus masterclasses that are designed to actually convert for you. You got to put a little bit different spin on it. It's a different strategy completely. Okay? So as we're talking about all of this, first of all, if you've not yet registered for my workshop on Monday, I would love to invite you to come. It's called Masterclasses That Sell. We are going to specifically talk about what I just said. What is the difference between masterclasses that teach and masterclasses that sell? And what is the secret sauce in there? We're also going to look at how do you know and learn whether or not a masterclass is right for your business and the way you like to do business. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of this kind of stuff. So I hope you'll come and join us. It's a free masterclass. I'm not charging the $10 because I know that it's going to be an awesome workshop. And I've got bonuses for people who show up live. You're going to get something that nobody on the recording is going to have access to. And it is a masterclass topic planner. So there's an incentive for you to come live to help you pick the right masterclass topic. Because that is one of the most foundational keys to this whole thing. If you pick the wrong topic, oftentimes what happens is we pick a topic because we think, what could I teach? You know what I could do? You know what would be fun? I'll do this. I can teach that. And you're already going about it the wrong way. You've got to look at it and say, what's the right masterclass for me to do that's going to bring leads in and that's going to allow me to convert and sell my offer or my program? It's way more strategic than just deciding, you know what, I could do a masterclass on this topic. So we're going to talk more about that, and if you show up live, you'll get my masterclass topic planner as well. So exciting. Okay, see what I just did there? I gave you a reason to not just register for the workshop, but to be there live. Because now there's something that only the people who are live are going to get, and people want that. Okay. The other thing that I'll just mention here at the end is that I am opening up my calendar to do masterclass magic solution calls in July and August. Now, I just want to be totally transparent about what this call is. It is to help you with one of two things. If you do not have a masterclass challenge event and you're thinking about maybe you'd like to do that, we will brainstorm what kind of masterclass challenge or event will work for you. I did one of these calls with April on, was it Monday or Tuesday? I can't remember. And she walked away with 3 ideas. She loved it. It was so awesome. She was so excited. Okay, so we'll either do that, or we can talk more about the specific problem you isolated today, like what is happening in your existing event that's not converting, and we'll talk about what you can specifically do different, okay? So we'll do one or the other of those. But I also, we will absolutely spend some time talking about how I can help you with this. So we'll look at all of my different offers and programs and what might be the right solution for you and the best way that you like to learn so that I can help you build a masterclass that converts. So if that's of interest to you, let me know and I'll get you the link. Okay? If you want to drop the word, let's do this. If you haven't registered for the workshop on Monday, type the word masterclass in the comments and I'll send you the link. Okay? If you want one of these masterclass magic calls, just type the word call in the comment and I'll get you the link to book that. Sound good? Okay. Let me see if there's any questions. Otherwise, we're going to wrap up here. Everybody wants tacos now. Yep. Julie says, I got to make it unmissable. Yes, that's the word. Okay. When is Patty's asking when the workshop is. It is Monday the 14th. I gotta look at my calendar. Yes, Monday the 14th at 11 Mountain. It's a 90-minute workshop, so we'll go from 11 to 12:30 Mountain time. So, Patty, for you, that's 10 to 11:30 because you're in California. Is it getting hot out there yet, or is it still nice? I had a coffee chat with somebody yesterday who was in LA, and I was like, wait a minute, where are you? She was inside, but her hair was just blowing slightly. And I'm like, you're sitting somewhere with the windows open. She's like, I'm in LA. And I was like, it's nice enough to have the windows open in July? That's awesome. Good for you guys. Usually it's hot. Hot. I know it's getting hot here. Okay. I don't see any other questions. So I'm going to wrap us up. I do owe you, last week's live had to be canceled. I apologize for that. So I'm going to do a short video. I don't know which day I'll do it, tomorrow or this weekend, but I will get it out to you. I can't even remember what the topic was, but I have not forgotten. I don't know whether it'll be live or pre-recorded. I'm just going to kind of see how I feel, but I know I owe you some of that. So watch for that too. All right. Here's what I want to leave you with today. Just because something doesn't work doesn't mean it's a bad idea. Doesn't mean it's the wrong strategy. So I want you to resist throwing it all away and saying, it doesn't work for me. I'm never going to do this ever again. What I also want you to recognize is that don't change everything, right? If you just have a water bottle under your car seat and that is what's making the noise, you don't need a new engine. You've got to isolate what's going on inside that masterclass and then apply the appropriate solution, like removing the water bottle from out from under your seat. So it's about being strategic in what you do to switch a masterclass that you have today into something that people love, but nobody buys, into one that you are consistently getting sales out of. Because when you get it to that point and you know every time I deliver this, I'm going to make 10 sales, you're doing a happy dance every time you get to do it. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your Thursday. See you on Monday for the workshop. Don't forget to register and have an awesome weekend. Bye, guys.